I stepped off the boat today and I had a bit of an accident. I was having a real good day up until that point. Stepped off the boat, put my foot down on some slippery bits, slipped straight over and landed on my spinning rod. Now as you can see, I've snapped the butt end section clean in half. Fiberglass has snapped. Now it's still usable. It's only the butt end section, but I'm going to attempt to fix. Now, I'm quite lucky because the splitting in the fiberglass, I don't know if you can see that, hasn't gone too far. It's probably gone to the middle of the M there. And on this one here, it's the middle of the N. So all I'm going to do is I'll tape them up, cut them really carefully with a saw so they're straight edges. Then I'm going to slip like a little dowel. Slip a little dowel in between them both, glue it, fasten them together, and then put a lashing on it. We'll see if it works. You can see I've taped them up. The reason why I'm taping it is so that when I'm cutting it, it doesn't splinter further down there. So I'm going to cut this around there and that one there. Right, so I've cut both ends so they're perfectly straight, and all I've done was just very gently, I had some sandpaper and laid it down flat, and I just kind of went round in a really gentle circular motion just to make sure all the edges were perfect. It is very important to have the tight tape on there so that it doesn't splinter at any point. I don't throw anything away. Even when it's broken and I can't fix it, I don't throw it away because it might be useful in the future. This here is one of my old rods. In fact, this was the rod that I had before I had that one. And the reel seat on it broke. And it was just, it had lived its life, shall I say. And all we used to do was I let my lad play with it in the garden. I tied a string to the end and he could play. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this section out of here, there to there, and I'm going to slide it up inside of there, because if you can see, look, because it's hollow, you'll be able to slide it up inside of there. This is strong. This is the backbone of the rod. That will make a strong fit. So again, I'll get my tape, wrap some tape around here dead tight, and there, and then very gently with a small toothed blade, small toothed hacksaw blade, I'll cut it. Right, I've taped it up, you can see, top end and bottom. And I was thinking to myself, I don't really want to cut it on here because I don't want to damage my worktop, and also it rolls about a bit. So all I did was I just got a little offcut. This is just a little piece of a pallet, and I just got a saw and I just cut a groove in it so that the rod fits in it like that now. So all I'm going to do is, when I'm coming to cut that bit, I can brace that on there and then cut. And then when I'm coming down here, I'll brace that in there and cut. So yeah, I've made myself like a little rest. Look, perfectly straight cut. Of course I took my time with it and was really steady. All I'll do now, lay it across like I did. Just going to cut like that. There we go. And there's my section of dowel. Perfect. Now comes the slightly trickier part. I've got my little piece of dowel. The reason why I cut it right up near the eye and right down near the butt was to give me as much to play with as possible. it's thicker at this end than that end. This is thicker at this end than that end. Now all I've got to do is I've got to find where in here is a nice tight fit inside of there. Like if you look, it just fits in. It's a little bit too tight. So I'm going to have to take this back probably an inch. And this end here, that's a lot narrower than that. So it slides all the way in, no bother, until you get to there. So what I'm probably going to have to do here, I have to take that off there and take that off there and use this centre section. But all I'm going to do is I'll just keep taking a little bit off and a little bit off on either end until I can get them to perfectly marry and slide down on top of each other until they meet like that. And it will just have a little piece of this backbone on the inside. Right, I've found a size that fits inside both. I had to take off a little bit off the end. And all I've done is I've just taken a little bit of sandpaper and I've just smoothed the edges down, just to decrease the outside diameter enough to let them slip inside. And it is a nice snug fit. Look. There. And this one on this end is the same. So that will fit up tight. All I need to do now that I know that it will fit and I've got the right size, is I'll take them apart. I'll get my sandpaper and I'll rough it all up a bit, and then I'm going to get the glue gun out. The reason that you rough it all up a little bit is because by creating like an imperfect surface, it allows the glue to bind better onto it, so it'll hold it together. And then all I'll do is one at a time, I'll pour some glue into there, push that end in, then pour some glue into there and slot it all together. Right, here's the here's the difficult part. I've got me I've just got a hot glue gun. I am quite a crafty person. I'm going to try and put the spigot into the larger part first, into the main of the rod. Now what I did was I've slid it up until it fits nicely and snug, and I know where it goes to. I'm going to have to do this really quick, so I'm explaining it beforehand. I'm going to squirt some of the hot glue inside the rod and then slide the spigot in as quickly as I can. Fingers crossed. There we go. That's where that wanted to be. That was how quick I had to be. Because if you're any slower, the glue cools and you won't get it all the way in. Let's try it with the other end now. Come on, is it going to meet? Is it going to meet? Yes! Right there. I'm not too worried about the little bits of glue on the outside, because all I'll do is I'll wait for it to cool and I'll just peel that off. But there it is, it's together. There we are. Perfect. We'll just let this cool now. Running out of glue in the glue gun. Right, the glue's cooled nicely, and all I'm going to do, look, as you can see, just peel that off. Come on, come on. A little tiny bit of excess glue sticking out of the gaps. But there's the join. No giving that at all now. Perfect. And all I'm going to do is I'll just get some black tape and I'll just wrap that up nice, just so you wouldn't even know. And all I've done is I've lost maybe about an inch of that rod. I'm going to keep that other little bit of spigot there just in case anything else snaps, because that was a nice little fix. That's it. There we are, all tight together with a nice smooth piece of tape on there, so there's like the little tiny bits on the edges, or even like where the two bits meet, if there's a bit of tape there as a support, it's not going to splinter or crack, and that's very strong. I'm really pleased with that. I will let you know how it holds up. We'll, if anything, I had a broken rod, now I don't have a broken rod, so anything now is a benefit. And all I did was I cut a section out of an old piece of fishing rod, smoothed it down till it would slide in between, then put some hot glue with a hot glue gun down inside and slid it together. But if you remember what I did, because it's a nice smooth surface, I scored it all up with some sandpaper first, so that it was a rough surface, because it gives the glue more to bind to. That was it. Just take your time. So what was that? A hacksaw, some tape, some glue, and a little bit of sandpaper. I am made up with that. Brilliant.